The catastrophic failure of a handheld gaming device, a launch party featuring some of the best known celebrities and artists of the early noughties, and Danni Minogue, the destruction of a $2 million Ferrari Enzo, leading to the arrest of a Swedish mafia leader. This is the story of how a bizarre chain of events resulted in a now 20-year-old rally game becoming the greatest of all time. Released on the 3rd of September 2004 on PC, Richard Burns Rally was a direct competitor to the Colin McRae series of games, pitting two great British World Rally champions head-to-head, both on the real stages and the virtual ones. However, Colin McRae's games were generally accessible to all ages and abilities, while Richard Burns' eponymous effort focused on the brutality of rallying, requiring a solid understanding of the sport to make the most of its handling model. It was an interesting juxtaposition that mimicked their driving styles. Burns focused obsessively on details, famously devising the most complicated pace note system in the World Rally Championship, alongside co-driver Robert Reid. Paul McRae was an all-action driver, full of natural exuberance and laconic one-liners.
Did you like that, wee man? If he beats that, he deserves it.
2 decades later, however, RBR is perhaps more relevant than it was even in 2004, with thousands of rally fans still enjoying the fruits of developer Warthog Games' labour. Paul McRae's games, although well received, have faded into the mists of dirt-tinted nostalgia. But why is that? Warthog Games was a UK-based developer formed by former Electronic Arts personnel. In 2003, it purchased Atod Games, a small Swedish studio, renaming it Warthog Sweden. They already had an eclectic back catalogue of games, but forced its reputation by making the realistic rally title Mobile One Rally Championship, a unique counterpoint to arcadey rally titles like V-Rally, the official WRC series, and Colin McRae's games. So when publishers SCI Games announced a multi-year, multi-game licensing deal with the newly crowned WRC champion Richard Burns, there was only one studio up to the task: Warthog. Made up of just 15 passionate developers, Warthog Sweden set to work in creating the most realistic rally video game ever. SCI Games probably didn't know what they were ordering from us, explained game director Dennis Gustafsson in a 2023 Game Reactor interview. Link to this is in the description. When we talked about a rally simulator, I think they probably thought that we might be a little bit more realistic than our previous rally games, but no more. When we started showing them a drivable game, I remember several people in the London office getting a bit of a shock at how challenging it really was. It was abundantly clear that this team wasn't messing about, because even the physics lead, Eero Pitalainen, told Game Reactor back in the day that the commercial side of this was largely unimportant to him. It was all about finding the most pure form of unadulterated rallying realism. And you can see why. I mean, this game was exceedingly challenging from the get-go. Even now, with all of the hardware advancements, it's still a massive achievement just making it to the end of the stage in one piece. If you turn your damage to anything other than off, you're in for a tough ride. Naturally, Richard Burns himself had a lot of input on the game's physics and car handling, but 7-time Australian Rally Champion and 3-time Asia Pacific Rally Championship winner Possum Bourne also provided valuable insights to the development team, especially with regards to the real-world Australian stages that were featured.
And went there and he beat us by 30 seconds at the end of the rally, and I was a little bit surprised.
And then in a more hands-on role, you had rally consultant Simon Redhead. Now his main task was to use his real-world rallying experience to help Eero and the physics team refine the handling and make it feel more realistic. Obviously, that would come in handy when Richard Burns was away, and Richard Burns, being a WRC driver for Peugeot, was away quite a lot. Whatever it was that Eero and Simon and Richard and Possum and everyone else involved did, it was something special, because even now, 20 years on, today's elite rally drivers are still using those Richard Burns Rally foundations as their go-to simulator.
In my vision, I play the games which is representative also the driving skills. That's why I use, for this case, Richard Burns Rally, and not other rallies like Dirt 2.0 or WRC game. They have a really nice footage, nice graphics, and also the stages are representative more. But I want to feel the car, feel the right feedback, the right behavior of the car. That's why I'm used only Richard Dance Rally.
This was Nikolay Gryazin speaking in 2020, a guy who races for the Works Citroen team in WRC2 and has had 17 podiums, including 3 wins in that category, so this is someone who knows what they're talking about. And he's not the only one either. You've also got the likes of Max McRae, Kalle Karlberg, Teemu Suninen, all using Richard Burns Rally as a training tool. Even the late great Craig Breen used it. I should be clear that these guys weren't still using a vanilla standard version of RBR, they're all using an updated modded version, which is something I'm going to talk about more in a little bit.
It's really so close. That's why I love this game, even this game, because it represents also very good all setup changes. I know something from other drivers which say, maybe this one works okay, we try it on a test, I tried in the game, you say, yeah, it's also good. So sometimes it's very, very close. For me, it's really helpful to more analyze the car.
And to be fair, nothing legitimizes this game's credentials more than someone who's actually been there and done it. In fact, I've got a brilliant example for you. One of the most popular stages available through a modded version of RBR is a stage called Suninen in the Czech Republic. And in the 2019 Czech Republic Rallysimfans, the Suninen stage was actually run a couple of times. Now, Nikolay Gryazin was competing. There were some of the best rally drivers in the world at the time on there, like Jan Kopecky. And before Gryazin crashed out on stage 11, he actually took 3 stage wins in the rally. 2 of those 3 stages were Suninen, a stage he knew brilliantly thanks to his work on Richard Burns Rally. To me, that's just pure, true evidence of RBR's capability. So why is it then, when talking about modern rally stars playing RBR, we're talking about a modded version of the original rather than a sequel? Unfortunately, for All at Warthog Sweden, the game's initial launch would be its high point, and in a turn of events akin to a poorly judged mineshaft jump, things would soon nosedive to a crushing halt. Bizarrely, it was all down to a little known handheld games console called the Gizmondo. In 2004, just after RBR's release, Swedish tech company Tiger Telematics acquired Warthog, renaming it Gizmondo Europe, under the proviso that it would develop titles for Tiger Telematics' prospective Gizmondo handheld console. However, the Gizmondo turned out to be a sales and software disaster, eventually bankrupting the company. On reflection, it's clear to see why, as the firm's spending was completely out of control. A star-studded London launch party featuring the likes of Pharrell Williams, Sting, and Danni Minogue gave the device gravitas it didn't deserve, with the mastermind behind the project, Stefan Eriksson, arriving in a rather spicy-looking Ferrari Enzo. In fact, the guy had more than one of these in his collection. Another one met a devastating end thanks to some alleged drink driving. But regardless of whether this was drink driving or not, this was certainly no ordinary car crash. Cutting a long and confusing story short, this crash led to an investigation, and the investigation led to Eriksson being snowed under by litigation. There were weapons and embezzlement charges, followed by deportation and further drug and assault sentences in his native Sweden. All of this meant, well, jail. But also, the long list of collateral damage included the lost jobs of those talented and blameless individuals who got dragged up in all of this mess. With the demise of Warthog, the takeover of SCI Games by Square Enix, and the tragic death of Burns in 2005, a sequel could never happen. The whole situation was darker and more brutal than the Neuker stage ever was. From the outset, RBR's team clearly had modding in mind. I mean, this was actually confirmed by game producer Pete Hickman in a pre-release interview with Race Sim Central. And it really was this openness to modding from the get-go that has allowed this game to stay ahead of its competitors over the years. Yes, people fondly remember the original vanilla RBR, but really it's the modding that has made this the rally connoisseur's choice over the years. And we actually have a very talented individual, Gunter Schliff, aka WorkerBee, to thank for a lot of this. Schliff created the next generation physics that powers today's RBR communities, the most popular of which is the Hungarian-based Rallysimfans, which currently has around 80,000 registered accounts worldwide. Schluff is the consistent heart of nearly all additional cars added to the platform, producing bespoke physics for every model he adds. His talents extended to facilitating rear-wheel drive cars in RBR. Now, the original RBR only had four-wheel drive and one front-wheel drive car, the MGZR. And WorkerBee was able to reverse engineer this in order to produce the rear-wheel drive version. Like, that's just incredible. Schluff also added a pace note editor and the Fix-Up plugin, which, as the name suggests, fixed several vanilla RBR bugs, with his car mechanic background no doubt informing most of his work. My colleague Ross recently interviewed some of the team members behind Rallysimfans, and well worth checking out, by the way, they're fascinating. But Mika N and Alexei P are both hugely grateful and appreciative of the work that WorkerBee put in over the years. They both firmly believe that without his skill and determination, the modern day version of RBR really wouldn't be as strong as it is. Basically, not many people, if any, understand the nuances and the internals, what's going on under the hood with RBR as well as WorkerBee. And that's why you see so many of the modern advancements, stuff like the plugins, stuff like the physics and certain parts of content. So much of it is credited in part to WorkerBee. He's either created it, or he's worked on it, or he's had some involvement in it. His attention to detail and focus on realism did come at a cost, with so many of the next generation physics, or NGP, compatible car models taking a long time to perfect and balance. It's not just about one car, of course, it's about car classes, it's about balancing performance between them, it's about understanding the individual characteristics and unique elements of each individual car. And that requires a lot of work. It's not just a case of creating the car, it's weeks and months of research, whether that's looking through homologation papers or what drivers had to say about the car at the time, maybe the manuals. It's just a hell of a lot of work, and when you drive the most recent version of his NGP system, you could really feel that hard work. As one of a few all-in-one RBR mods, which include the game files and access to a multitude of stages, cars and utilities, Rallysimfans, commonly referred to as the Hungarian plugin, has emerged as the easiest way to play the sim today. Thanks to patronage from YouTubers like GP Laps, Jimmy Broadbent and Aidan Millward,
oh, you're kidding me.
RSF's community has grown exponentially, with championships regularly attracting hundreds of competitors across multiple classes, including historic vehicles. It wasn't the only third-party RBR online racing platform out there in the early days, but the team at RSF wanted to create a specific plugin that would support the latest version of NGP at any given time, and above all else, was free for everyone to play. Ask Alexei P, and he will say the dedicated team of volunteers has always had one simple goal: to provide the best overall rally simulator experience for rally fans. Everyone involved in this, from Alexei P and Mika N to Falcon77, RPT, Laka and Sebgutkov, the team who started development in the first place, all clearly felt passionate about the potential of Richard Burns Rally as a platform and wanted to keep it alive and kicking. So considering the Herculean advancements over the years and the 6,000 active monthly users that you still have on the platform today, what does the future hold for RSF and RBR according to those at the heart of it? I don't want to give away too many secrets, declares Mika N, but there are plans to bring in even more online rally modes in RSF, new types of rallies, and even game modes. But in general around RBR, one of the recent big things was the modernised stage authoring with the RBR Blender add-on tool. This made it possible for numerous new people to start working with high quality stages. The next big thing here could be a modernised car model authoring tool. Alexei P also outlined the plans to make playing the game a more user-friendly experience. We still have lots of good and feasible ideas on the drawing board. My long-term hope is that we would be able to modernise the server backend and website, because those are still largely based in 2007. Making even small changes is a lot of work. It's like a house of cards that can topple at any wrong move. Modernising it would bring massive possibilities for developers, and just making it a nicer overall experience for the current and new players. There are also some exciting new things for the game coming, so stay tuned in the RSF announcements. So what does the original RBR team think of the mod-based evolution? Well, once again, from that interview that physics lead Iiro Putalainen did with Game Reactor, it seems they're pretty positive. In fact, Iiro says he's delighted to see it. He actually checks every now and then on how things are going, what sort of mods are there. And it kind of makes sense, right? I mean, the modders are essentially building on his original hard work in the first place, so you want to see what people have been able to do with it. My favourite tidbit from that interview, in fact, was Iiro Pitalainen's built a rig for his son to get into sim racing, and the first thing he did when he built that rig was install Richard Burns Rally, a modded version of Richard Burns Rally, with the most up-to-date NGP physics. Essentially, in doing so, passing on the baton to the next generation of rallying fans. I just love that. The legalities of RBR modding are naturally a talking point, with some car models lifted directly from other games, but there are a few hardy modders out there building bespoke RBR cars and stages that must be lauded. One example is Gabiria to Legaspi 2004, authored by Come Over Gaming and the JL Stages modding team, which replicates the real-world Basque stage in frightening detail. Its narrow ribbon of cambered, pollution-loaded asphalt is a rollercoaster ride in any car, especially in its default damp condition. It's widely thought to be the most realistic of RBR's tests, including those made by the original development team. Other stages like Biscopis, Valstania, Semitin, Carvalho de Rey, and Vargasons have also helped raise the bar in Richard Burns Rally, with modders like Rally Guru, Miro Kurek, Myra43, Martinez, Vasek Saurek, and Moku Moku, among many others, producing astonishing original work for the community. In another nod to the level of realism attained by modern day RBR, real-world Czech stage Biscopis was created using laser scan data, which was then interpreted and installed in-game by its creators, Martin Bujacek, Lorenzo Clerici, Silvio Kum, and Jan Kaderabek. Kaderabek also played a big part in the RBR F-Mod project, helping revolutionise the game's engine and exhaust sounds, contributing massively to the game's longevity and immersion. One of the original RBR's highlights was its stage design, with all of the game's vanilla tests based on real locations, although many are reimagined facsimiles inspired by their real counterparts. This means that the single-track roads of Kielder Forest were simulated beautifully. Cambers hooked your car towards apices in thrilling fashion. It remains a truly unrivaled sensation in the whole of sim racing. The game's other locations, Japan, USA, France, Finland, and Australia, appeared along similar lines, divided among snow, asphalt, and gravel surfaces. And yes, that mineshaft jump is actually real, by the way. Richard Burns Rally has changed in the last 20 years, and changed often. While other rally games have come and gone, RBR has remained the #1 choice for those looking for an authentic rallying experience, and also the #1 choice for professional rally drivers. From overhauled sounds, graphics, and WorkerBee's physics, to experience-enhancing utilities like RBR Director's Cut, RBR Roadbook, and RBR HUD, the game has progressed to unimaginable levels in recent years, with the Rallysimfans mod providing players with free and easy access to the delights of virtual rallying. The age-old question remains, will any other rally game or rally sim come close to the levels of realism seen in Richard Burns Rally anytime soon? I have to say, with the incredible foundations of the base game, the hard work and dedication of those who continue to improve it, and the constant outpouring of love from the rally sim community for all of this, probably not. If you've enjoyed this video, please do show your appreciation by leaving us a like, and let us know down in the comments what your thoughts are on Richard Burns Rally and its longevity. Subscribe to the Traxion channel if you don't want to miss any videos like this in the future as well, and hit the notification bell so then you will get them all in your inbox and you certainly won't miss a thing. A big thanks as well to everyone at Rallysimfans who shared their stories with us, and remember you can read Ross's full interviews with the likes of WorkerBee, Alexi P, and Mika N over on the TraxionGG website. Until next time, thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.